Hello, and welcome to another episode of Rico'S Rants. I'm your host, Rico DiGiorgio. Let me see if this makes it 80. Yeah, doesn't affect the light at all. Alright, so this was a bit of a request. Specifically, a request, and then it was a demand by someone else, and then it was insisted by two other people. So, I've never seen this fucking movie. Now I'm glad I saw it. Now I'm glad I'm doing it. So, Johnny, Stephanie, my mother, this one's for you, as it turns out. And Johnny, you said that I'm doing this for me. You're right. I'm actually really pissed off that I never saw this until tonight. The movie is The Sting. Okay, so The Sting, made in 1979, is actually set in 1936, and Dino is in a cuddly mood, so sorry if he's bothering us. Um, First off, bizarre film in the sense that it is very old school. It's vaudevillian. It's very 30s, but and the way the premise of the film is set up is it just feels like an old school silent film, but with color and action. But the music is just very. I know there's a term for it, but I'm blanking on it. The music that we all kind of know, which is da 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 ba da 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 da. That's the music in this film, and that's from this movie, as far as I know. Bizarre contrast, because most great movies have to have a great score, whether it's the James Bond movies or Halloween or Jaws or Star Wars or Indiana Jones. The music is usually another character to the film. That this movie and its score did not disappoint, because it really felt like an old timey film, but in color, with Robert Redford and Paul Newman. Um, I literally just finished it like 2 minutes ago, so I'm, well, 5 minutes ago, because I'm on 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So, but really, just finished watching it. Basically, it is a movie about con men, and it's also kind of a revenge film in its own way. Now, when I was first watching this, I was sort of updating people as I was watching, and not throughout the whole film, but there is an opening scene where there's a small con, and it's done beautifully. And what it is Robert Redford, who is incredibly talented in this film and has this cockiness and, smart aleck mouth, and kind of does his own thing, but is obviously learning how to be a better grifter or con man. He is passing by an alley, and then there's a man who had just stolen an older African American man's wallet and had stabbed him in the leg. There's a separate man walking by, just a total stranger. Robert Redford throws his suitcase at the mugger who's running away, knocks him down. They kick the wallet back to the old man. The mugger yells and curses at them and then runs off, swears revenge. And then it's the stranger, Robert Redford, and the mugged person. And they find the wallet, find out there's about 15 grand in it. And he says, like, I got the mob after me. You got to return this money, otherwise I'm dead. And so Redford says, "Oh, I'm not going to do it, man. I'm not in the mood to get stabbed by you, stabbed for you. What if they kill the messenger boy? That kind of shit." And then the total stranger says, "Well, I'll do it." And the other guy says, "All right, yeah. If you take it, there's $100 for it. All you have to do is just drop it off." And Redford does this thing where he takes the bag of money, slips it in his front trousers, and says, "Look, this is how you do it, okay? This is the best way of not getting caught." The guy says, "All right, yeah, I got it." Does the exact same thing. Walks off, hails a cab, drives off, tells the cabbie, like, "Man, I just made the easiest $15,000. Pulls out the wad of cash. It's full of paper. So they conned him and took his money as well. And he has, like, he had just gotten a ton of money from someone else, and so they just robbed his ass for like something like 20 grand or something. I don't know, the amount is really fucked up, where it could have just been the African Americans' money was originally 5 grand and they got like an obscene amount. I don't remember what it was. Even though it's all still fresh, I'm just like, what the fuck? So then you realize that's the sound of Oakland. You realize everyone was in on it. The the mugger, the old man, and Robert Redford. It was just conning some total stranger and hoping they were going to get lucky, and they got really fucking lucky. That's the basic setup. Now, little side note: when I'm watching this, and there's another scene with the older African American man, and it's revealed that he is Redford's mentor. I'm watching and I'm like, I don't. He reminds me so much of James Earl Jones. Now, I watched the opening credits and I'm like, it didn't really click. So I'm watching this and it's older African American, kind of looks like James Earl Jones, has a beard, but the voice and the mannerisms and way he speaks is exactly like James. I'm like, fuck, if I close my eyes, that's just basically Darth Vader or Mufasa or this is CNN. And then I'm like watching the movie, I look it up, I'm like, holy shit, it's his father. Now, like I said, when I'm watching the opening credits, they do like 10 to 12 actors where it shows a scene of the movie and the character they're playing and the actor playing them. And they did, future scenes that you're going to see, just like a little like Robert Redford just kind of walking up holding flowers and like kind of doing that, and then you see it later, like 5 minutes later. And then Paul Newman with a cigar in his mouth and all the other actors. They didn't do one for Robert Earl Jones. When they did the also featuring players, the Robert Earl was smushed together, so it actually looked like Robert Earl. Like, that's his actual first name was Robert Earl. There was no space, so I didn't make that connection. But holy shit, that was a surprise. And then, spoilers, some mob kills him. There's a scuffle, and they throw him out a window. So I was like, oh, fuck, one of the most interesting characters that I've already liked in the movie immediately dies. Such a son of a bitch, blah, 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 blah. Now, before all that, Redford gets his cut, takes out, his stripper girlfriend, and then immediately loses it all $3,000 plus some, spending money on his new suit and buying flowers for his girlfriend. Then he goes to a little roulette table and just wastes it all on one thing. And the roulette table cheats. They press that little button, which, instead of putting it on red, they put it on black, and he loses it all. So immediately we're given an impression that Redford is just a cocky guy who's just going to spend all his money and lives almost for the thrill of the con, and less about playing it safe, putting his money in the bank, paying his bills, that kind of shit. Before Robert Earl Jones's character dies, he tells him, he's like, listen, if you're ever in any trouble, or if you want to learn how to do a big con, look up this guy. And that guy is Paul Newman. So he goes to Chicago, and meets Paul Newman, who's been like a veteran for 30 years and is kind of an alcoholic in his own. I mean, the first scene when they meet each other, he's like laying on the side of it, on the underside of his bed, wedged against the fucking bed and the wall. Redford takes him, puts him in the bathtub, turns in the shower until he sobers up. And to give you another idea of how old-timey this is, the clothes are old-timey. Everything is spent in cents. It's there's never. I mean, the big money is dollars, but like Redford getting a cup of coffee and meatloaf for something is like 85 cents. It's ridiculous. Which, to be fair, for 1936, is probably expensive. But another little thing that he does, that Paul Newman does, is when he's sobering up, he takes the ice block out of his ice chest. There's no refrigerators, so it was an ice chest which they put the ice brick at the top, and it cooled everything down. So he takes this, puts it in the sink, runs some water, ice picks the shit out of it, fills it with water, and dunks his face in. I'm like, fuck. Just to see a movie with an ice chest, it just felt old-timey. I mean, that really is, with the music and the direction of the film, it's kind of a jarring moment. You kind of have to get used to the whole film. A lot of that is also with the jargon and the vernacular that all these characters have. There's all these slang of, grifter, hit, sting, mark, all this shit. And honestly, even though I was kind of well versed for con movies and mafia shit, I had to be like, what the fuck is this? And I'm like looking shit up. I'm like, what does this mean? And they have all these phrases for certain things. And now we get to the whole point of the film, which is they're going to con a big mob guy who's super connected, who basically ordered the hit on Robert Earl Jones. So it's a revenge film and also a heist film. In some ways, I can actually compare it to this other film called Robin and the Seven Hoods. Now, I'll talk about Robin and the Seven Hoods another time, and I will. It's one of my all-time favorites. But in this particular film, the similarities are there. It's a revenge film, it's also a heist film, it's also a con job, and it's also set in the 30s, whereas Robin and the Seven Hoods is set in the 20s, during Prohibition. So, the Mark, as it were, is played by the fucking brilliant Robert Shaw. For those, who's Robert Shaw? Jaws. He plays Quentin Jaws. He's also arguably one of the better Bond villains. He played Red, the villain in From Russia with Love. And Robert Shaw, for an actor, it just oozes intimidation. And he has a very thick Irish accent, which I believe was his actual accent. And he has a limp. I actually read that he actually fucked up his leg before the film, so they had to put it in the film, and they refer to him as the man with the gimp. And there's a real mystery as for the viewer of why is he limping. They never once really say, not that I remember, why he's limping, but it implies that like it's from a gunshot wound or a stab or something, where it's like this guy has gone through some shit and now he's got the power where he's got his two cronies next to him mostly at all times. But he has a stare that is just intimidating. I mean, and then to counter that, whenever someone challenges him or argues, he says a phrase, I'm blanking on it. It was like, you got it, or hear me, hear that. He said, hear that? Meaning, you heard what I said. Don't question me. So, I'm not going to go into the whole plot of how they con the guy, or the twist ending, or even just the ending. Because this is a movie that you really should just watch. It'd be like me, blowing the secret to Ocean's 11. It'd be like me revealing the whole thing for Robin and the Seven Hoods, actually. This is a heist movie that you need to see begin to end. And before I watched it, Stephanie told me, she said, don't give up on it. And I'm like, what does that mean? Is it slow? Is it boring? She's like, no. It is, you really just need to follow it and really not take your eyes off the screen. And apart from me pausing it and looking shit up, like the Robert Earl Jones thing, my eyes were glued to the fucking screen. I couldn't, it just every plot point and how they're setting up this big mark is tremendous. And it's an immensely well done film. The only thing that I had a little bit of criticism towards, and this is my own fault, is because I've seen thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not maybe millions of films. Research, homework, for fun, whatever. I think I have cheated myself unintentionally before I saw this film because I kind of predicted the ending. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to say what it is, but I definitely saw that coming. And once it was happening, I said, aha, I know what's going to happen. Also, because I knew there was a sequel. So, I kind of ruined the ending a little bit for myself, but it was still an immensely enjoyable film. So, is it a go out and fucking see it? Fuck yeah, it's a go out and fucking see it. I don't care how you get it. I don't care if you do a con job yourself to fucking see this movie. See this thing. It is, like I said, I am elated and frustrated that I haven't seen this film until tonight. But definitely watch it. On that note, little announcement. You guys really need to check out the podcast that my friend CJ and I do, Pod Askew. Please check it out. Please watch it. Please listen to it. Excuse me. And let me know what you guys think. We are now we're adding more episodes and we're going to add more features. So if you like basically this shit and you like me debating with other people and talking just about bullshit, check out Pod Askew. All right, guys. Take care.